Hello, I'm Mark from My Catholic Library, and you join me as always in the bindery at the workbench to take a look at some of the book repair work that I'm engaged in. A priest of the FSSP church in Warrington, here in England, has asked if I can repair these 2 volumes of organ music. He is also the organist. In both cases they've completely split, and therefore inside many of the pages are also completely loose as well. These were once integral and kind of held together. So as well as doing the necessary functional repairs, obviously very important, we want to make sure we keep the beautiful elements of these as well. So to see how I transform this into this, do stick around until the end of the video.
The first job is one all bookbinders are honour bound to perform, the removal of the surviving staples. I'll explain more about why we basically hate staples at the end of the video. I can then remake the torn sections into single sheets, including the covers, with a strip of Japanese tissue. While I will be sewing these booklets back together, I want to make sure the new decorative end papers don't shift around during the process, so a bead of glue on the remade spine secures it in place. It does make it a little tougher to pierce for the sewing sections with the awl, but it's worth it in the end. A quick wax of the linen thread and I can sew this sheet music back together. I also sew a cloth hinge onto the spine for added reinforcement and to help hold the sheet music into its new cover. Tie off in the centre of the booklet, trim the end papers to size, and we're ready to make the covers. Getting the correct spacing between front and back boards is crucial for making sure the cover actually protects the pages inside and has a pleasing even border all the way round. Holding the boards in their final position, I mark the gap on a strip of paper, set my spring dividers to that width, and once I've glued down the back board on the covering material, I can situate the front board using the dividers and mark the corners so I can glue the board back down in exactly the right place. The rest is just the usual procedure for a cloth covered book. Trim the corners, glue up the turn-ins and, well, turn them in so they meet at a right angle in the corners. And just so you know, this is one of the ways bookbinders will judge each other's work. They'll look at how neat your turn-ins are. If you've got this right and it's an even border all the way round and they meet at a right angle, they'll know you've got the rest of the fundamentals right. Once the papers are glued out and the boards are put down, this sheet of music is structurally sound and ready to use again. But we're not done yet. I mentioned keeping the beautiful elements of the original covers at the start of the video. Those would be the fonts and the layouts, which are very attractive, I think, and it gives me an excuse to play with this vinyl cutter. Like all modern technology, it makes your life better by making simple actions incredibly complicated, like moving something a few millimeters to the right, but once it's whirring away, it is quite good, and it would take me forever to cut something like this by hand, so this contraption can stay. To stop you getting bored while I painstakingly weed out the vinyl, that is the term for this process, you could pass the time by clicking like if you've enjoyed this video so far. Thanks very much. The only thing worse than that was lifting the large waist area. Go too quick and you pull the letters off their backing, which screws up the next bit. It took so long I had to use that slow crossfade to convey the idea. Anyway, I eventually got it off so I could pick up the vinyl with clear plastic and place it accurately on the cover. Then guess what? I must have done a good job with that bone folder because these letters were really stuck onto the clear plastic. Finally though, the titles were on, and the books now look like this.
While I obviously think it was worth it to go to the surprising amount of time and effort required to recreate the titles of these books of organ music and apply that in gold vinyl to these new covers that I've made, I think it's a very nice finishing touch. As a bookbinder, the thing that I'm most pleased with is knowing that these books of organ music are now structurally much better than they were even before the pages had torn. They were inevitably going to tear because of those staples. The problem with staples being that pages do have a tendency to shift around, and obviously organ music, you're going to be flipping through it at fairly rapid speeds some places, and as the pages move around like this, in this direction, the staples don't move. They're completely unforgiving and they rip your pages in half. Having gotten rid of them and replaced that with a very strong but very flexible linen thread, I know that these pages are now not going to tear, unless someone does something pretty extraordinary with it, and they're now encased in these hardback cases that open perfectly flat. Again, another requirement of sheet music like this, and this is going to stay in here for a very long time. I think you would have to cut them out. I don't think you'd even be able to pull them out, or with an extraordinary amount of effort, and why would you be doing that? So, very pleased with how these repairs have actually worked out, and once again, if you know someone who has piles of sheet music like this that are loose sheets, that shouldn't be loose sheets, well, we can do something about that. I would even suggest some preemptive action, and if you know someone that has books of sheet music like this that are stapled together, let's act now before they get ripped in half, because 100% they will. And even if you don't know any musicians yourself that would benefit from having this kind of treatment given to their sheet music, just by liking, just by leaving a comment, just by following or subscribing, you're going to help this video get in front of the right people who are interested in this topic and might benefit from this service. So I really do appreciate it when you do that. There are more full-length videos like this coming, more clips, more photographs of the work that I'm doing, so by subscribing and following, you're going to make sure you see the interesting work that I do as well. So until the next time, go in peace.